San Sebastián or Donostia is a coastal city and municipality located in the Basque Autonomous Community, Spain. It lies on the coast of the Bay of Biscay, 20 kilometers from the French border. Capital city of Gipuzkoa. The municipality's population is 186,409, with its metropolitan area reaching 436,500. Locals call themselves Donostiara, both in Spanish and Basque. The main economic activities are commerce and tourism, and it is one of the most famous tourist destinations in Spain. Despite the city's small size, events such as the San Sebastián International Film Festival have given it an international dimension. San Sebastián, along with Wrocław, Poland, will be the European Capital of Culture in 2016. Etymology. In spite of appearances, both the Basque form Donostia and the Spanish form San Sebastián have the same meaning of Saint Sebastian. The Donia, Dono, Doni element in Basque place names signifies saint, and is derived from Latin domini. The second part of Dono contains a shortened form of the saint's name. Geography. The city is in the north of the Basque Country, on the southern coast of the Bay of Biscay. San Sebastián's picturesque shoreline makes it a popular beach resort. The seaside environment is enhanced by hilly surroundings that are easily accessible, i.e., Urgell, romantic Mount Julia extending east to Pasaya, Mount Adara rising proud far on the south, and Igeldo, overlooking the bay from the west. In fact, the city centre and the districts of Amara Bay and Riberas de Loyola lie on such terrain and the former bed of the river, diverted to its current canalized course in the first half of the 20th century. Parts of the city as a result of Donostia's sprawling in all directions, first into the flatlands shaped by the river Urumi and later up the hills. New districts arose after the walls of the city were demolished in 1863. The first expansion of the old town stretched out to the river's mouth, on the old quarter called Zuriola. The orthogonal layout nowadays making up the city centre was built up to 1914, much in tune with the Parisian Haussmannian style. The arcades of the Buenpasta Square were fashioned after the ones of the Rue de Rivoli, with the Maria Cristina Bridge being inspired by the Pont Alexandre III that spans the Seine. The Estación del Norte train station standing right across the bridge was inaugurated in 1864 just after the arrival of the railway to San Sebastián, with its metallic roof being designed by Gustave Eiffel. Party Vieja. The Party Vieja is the traditional core area of the city, and was surrounded by walls up to 1863, when they were demolished so as to occupy the stretch of sand and land that connected the town to the mainland. The old part is divided in two parishes relating to the Santa Maria and San Vicente churches, the inhabitants belonging to the former being dubbed traditionally Joxamaritaric, while those attached to the latter are referred to as Coxgaroque. Historically, the Coxgaroque up to the early 18th century were largely Gascon-speaking inhabitants. Especially after the end of Franco's dictatorship, scores of bars sprang up all over the old part which are very popular with the youth and the tourists, although not as much with the local residents. Most current buildings trace back to the 19th century, erected thanks to the concerted effort and determination of the town dwellers after the 1813 destruction of the town by the Allied Anglo-Portuguese troops. There is a small fishing and recreation port, with two-floor picturesque houses lined under the front wall of the Mount Urgell. Yet these houses are relatively new, resulting from the demilitarization of the hill, sold to the city council by the Ministry of War in 1924. Antigua. This part stands at the west side of the city beyond the Miramar Palace. It is arguably the first population nucleus, even before the land at the foot of Urgell was settled. A monastery of San Sebastián el Antigua is attested in documents at the time of the foundation. At the mid-19th century, industry developed, the nucleus coming to be populated by workers. Industry has since been replaced by services and the tourist sector. The Martia Kali provides the main axis for the district. Amara Zahara, or Old Amara, named after the farmhouse Amara. It has eventually merged with the city centre to a large extent, since former Amara lay on the marshes at the left of the river Urumi. The core of this district is the EASO Plaza, with the railway terminal of Osko Tren closing the square at its south. Amara Berry. This city expansion to the south came about as of the 1940s, after the works to canalize the river were achieved. Nowadays the name Amara usually applies to this sector, the newer district having overshadowed the original nucleus both in size and population. The district harbors the main road entrance to the city, with Donosta's central bus station being located between the roundabout and the river. Facilities of many state-run agencies were established here, and presently Amara's buildings house many business offices. The district revolves around the axis of Avenida Sancho El Sabio and Avenida de Madrid. Gross. The district is built on the sandy terrain across the river. The Gross Oriola surf beach by the river's mouth bears witness to that type of soil. In the 19th century, shanties and workshops started to dot the area, Thomas Gross being one of its main proprietors, as well as providing the name for this part of the city. The area held the former monumental bullring Chofra, demolished in 1973, on a site currently occupied by a housing estate. The district shows a dynamic commercial activity, recently boosted by the presence of the Kursal Congress Center by the beach. Ayutthaya, one of the newest parts in the city, it kept a rural air until not long ago. The post-war city council bought the quaint compound of the Ayutthaya Palace for the use of Francisco Franco in 1940, right after the conclusion of the Civil War. The place in turn became the summer residence for the dictator up to 1975, nowadays home to the Bakeneci or Peace Memorial House. Ija, stemming from Ija, is a popular district of Donostia on the right side of the Urumi beyond the train station. At the beginning of the 20th century, a patch of land by the railway started to be used as a football pitch, eventually turning into the official stadium of the local team Real Sociedad before it was transferred in the 1990s to Anita, south of Amara Berry. The former tobacco factory building Tabacalera, which has been converted into a contemporary culture center, conjures up the former industrial past of the area. Right opposite to this building lies the Cristina Inia Park, a public compound with a botanic vocation. Ija holds the city cemetery, Polo, at the northeast fringes of the district, stretching out to south in Texorondo. In Texorondo, this part is a large district to the east of the city. The original nucleus lies between the railway and the Atagorieta Avenue, where still today the farmhouse in Texorondo's are declared national monument, is situated since the mid-17th century. The railway cuts across the district, the southern side being the fruit of the heavy development undergone in the area during the immigration years of the 1950s and 1960s. In addition, further housing estates have been built up more recently south or beyond the N1, E5, E80, E70 ring road. The police force Guardia Civil runs controversial barracks there. Altsa is the easternmost district of San Sebastian, along with Bidbiatar and Trincerpi. It was but a quaint village comprising scattered farmhouses and a small nucleus a century ago. Yet on the arrival of thousands of immigrants in the 1960s and 1970s, a rapid and chaotic housing and building activity ensued, resulting in a maze of grey landscape of skyscrapers and 32,531 inhabitants crammed in them. The figure is 20,000 as of 2013. Ibayeta stands on the former location for various factories of San Sebastian, with the buildings of the old industrial estate being demolished in the late 20th century. The leveling of this large flat area paved the ground for a carefully planned, modern and elegant housing estate, featuring a new university campus for the Public University of the Basque Country and institutions such as the Donostia International Physics Center, or the Nanotechnology Center. A stream called Comporta flows down along the eastern side of the area, but it was canalized under the ground almost all along to its mouth on the bay, pushed by urban building pressure. Loyola, it lies by the Urumi at the southeast end of the city. It comprises a small patch of detached houses and a core area of 6 odd-floor buildings. The district has recently gone through a major makeover, with works finishing in 2008. The road access coming from important industrial areas crosses the district heading downtown. A military base stands across the river, home to an uprising in 1936. Attempts by the city council to close it have been unsuccessful so far. Riberas de Loyola, new modern district erected in the 2000s next to the city's inner bypass and south road entrance to Donostia. A pedestrian bridge spans the Urumi River onto the Cristina Inia Park. Matutena, the district bordering to the south on the town of Astigarraga, comes next to Loyola in the south direction. This part of the city features an industrial area, a football pitch for lower leagues, a disused vocational training building and enclosure, as well as a prison, much in decay and due to be transferred soon to a new location, probably in the municipality's exclave of Zubirtar. While this option is coming in for much opposition, Zubirtar, the exclave Zubirtar, was a picturesque old village up to recent years, with a bunch of houses, a unique handball pitch and a church. Yet it has undergone a great urban development, which has rendered the location a built-up area with paved streets and due equipment. 2 contested projects are underway to build a solid waste incinerator and a prison nearby. Historically, neighbors from Donostia held a meeting at a house in the former village in the wake of the 1813 burning, in order to decide the reconstruction of the town. Climate: San Sebastián features an oceanic climate with warm, but not hot summers, and cool but not cold winters. Like many cities with this climate, San Sebastián typically experiences cloudy or overcast conditions for the majority of the year, typically with some precipitation. The city averages roughly 1,650 millimeters of precipitation annually, which is fairly evenly spread throughout the year. However, the city is somewhat drier and noticeably sunnier in the summer months, experiencing on average approximately 100 millimeters of precipitation during those months. Average temperatures range from 8.9 degrees Celsius in January to 21.5 degrees Celsius in August.